for people dealing with the problem of lust. So again, lust is a broad term, but it's more directed towards sexual desire and or passionate desire. So not only is it tied to, for example, sexual desire, it's also tied to, for example, power and or money. So power, money, sex. Now, from a holistic standpoint, because I don't hear enough Christians and or platforms discuss this breakdown, there is our non-physical, which is our spirit, and then there is our physical, which is our mind and our body. So in the Bible, it is commonly and often said to flee from lust, as well as any craving and or desire, to flee. So on a I believe it's scientific standpoint of the human anatomy, there is fight and or flight. Flight is essentially the example of fleeing when you have that, for example, desire and or urge. So again, the two most powerful forces that we have is our spiritual energy and our sexual energy. Unfortunately, for those individuals that do not understand and or know that they possess spiritual energy, ultimately end up in unholy energy. And that is where they can tie into their physical sexual energy, because our sexual energy is our highest energy on our physical standpoint. That can be, for example, a male's testosterone and or a woman's estrogen. So making a man so attractive. Ladies, you know what makes an attractive man to you, as well as a woman. Guys, you know what's an attractive woman to you. So that's sexual energy. So from the fight or flight response, there are two other responses that are not commonly discussed, that I understand, shout out to Paul Check, shares them, and as well as discussed in some books and references of human anatomy. So, and there, I'm going to say the F. I'm not trying to curse on purpose, but I'm going to just say with the blank. So not only there's flight and or fight response, say in danger, there's also freeze, where you freeze, and fuck, have sex, engage in sexual activity. So those are the 4 F's. So other than flight, fight, there's and or freeze. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to look for another word to replace that. That's with an F. I don't want to say fornicate because it's still engaging in, but it's the desire to, have sex. So those are the 4 responses that we have, say an endanger or desire. And again, that desire is tying into lust, which can be sex and or money and or power. One thing that I advise for you guys, because I commonly hear it said to these mentors, go to the gym, work out. Besides that, there are other routes you can participate in. And one of them specifically, because some people will say, go jogging. I'm going to say this now. Walk more. If you have an urge, a lustful urge, walk. Use it to walk. Because another standpoint is from a guy's perspective, they say 3 legs. Our 2, and then our, guys, you know what I'm talking about, our family jewels. And sometimes that 3rd leg wants to exercise itself, So what do? We use the other two, like Jesus says, to flee, aka walk, to utilize that sexual desire, urge, to walk, because that is a sexual energy that we possess, and we need to refocus that energy and channel it somewhere else. Where some people will say go to the gym, you can also go and walk more. This is what Jesus did so often and frequent. He would walk so much. There's only one case that I know where he didn't walk, and that was when he was on the donkey to, I believe it was the city of Jerusalem, where he was presented like the King of Jews. That's the only time I understand from the Bible where he is not walking in terms of modes of transportation. So I urge you guys that if you're struggling with lust, if you're struggling with porn, if you're struggling with, let's say, a constant desire for money, try walking more. And I understand money is a whole separate conversation. Walk to do some form of random act of kindness while you're walking, because I know for myself, in walking in New York, there's a lot of people in need. Maybe your presence, because you walk there, channeling your sexual energy to help them in some way, shape, or form. Like, I had extra napkins they oddly gave me in Mama's Empanadas, and then like 5 minutes later, I'm walking, I see a couple of guys cleaning the floor. The guy was cleaning the floor with his own shirt. I just gave him a stack of napkins that I had for extra. That was God's work. Walk more, guys. And remember those 4 F's. And if you don't go to the gym and or are overweight and or struggling with lust, sexual lust, and say you constantly turn to porn and or sometimes turn to porn, your other option you can turn to is walking. And maybe walking and talking to somebody. I know the sensation's not the same, guys. I know it might be very tempting to just want to, ejaculate, but it is our responsibility to also reserve our seed for a godly woman, because biologically our seed is to procreate. But if you want to be having sex with women, you should be saving it for someone that is potential wife material for you, because God forbid, you impregnate that woman, as well as having a sexual relationship with a woman that knows you fully from a mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, all of you. It's going to be so much more of a pleasurable experience that can't compare. You will not want to have it with any other partner, because otherwise you're cheating yourself from a high form of expression of love with another partner. Otherwise it's just lust. Oh, the neighbor cat just anyways, yeah, so I'm gonna leave it at that, guys. So walk more, guys, and God bless you.